Hello, today I'll explain why legal interpretation is so critical in defamation investigations, like those handled at the Seoul Dongdaemun police station. A single sentence can be either a crime or an expression of free speech, depending entirely on how it's interpreted. This is why in defamation cases, legal interpretation is just as important as the facts themselves. For example, whether a statement is a statement of fact or an expression of opinion can come down to just a few words. The phrase, "that person is a scammer," could be judged as a claim of a specific fact or just an emotional evaluation. The outcome changes based on this distinction. But if you admit during an investigation, "Yes, I was certain they committed fraud," you're essentially closing off any room for a more favorable interpretation. You might think you're just explaining your side, but it could lead to a very different result. Also, even if what you said is true, the legality of your statement depends on whether it served the public interest or was merely an emotional outburst. This isn't about feelings, it's about the standards set by law. That's why before any investigation, it's essential to organize the context of your writing, how widely it was shared, and if it was repeated. The process of translating the meaning of your words into the language of the law is what we call interpretation. This interpretation in a criminal proceeding often carries over to civil liability. A statement deemed defamatory in a criminal case can become the basis for a civil damages claim. That's why we don't see criminal and civil cases as separate, but as one continuous flow. We consider settlement strategies, what to do with the post in question and the potential for future disputes all at once. During a consultation, we first organize the facts chronologically. Then, we break down the legal issues based on statutory requirements. We distinguish between what can be disputed and what should be admitted. The decision to even take on a case comes after this step. Sometimes it's better not to take the case. When we do, we clearly define our scope of responsibility from the investigation to the trial and enforcement. The standard we've maintained in practice since 2009 is simple. We define the meaning of words through law, not emotion. The reason we've operated since our opening in 2014 without disputes is because we prioritize realistic explanations over exaggeration. We prepare every single case as if the investigation is starting tomorrow. Ultimately, in a defamation investigation, what matters isn't what you said, but how your words are interpreted. The interpretation directly leads to the result. At Asin Law Firm, this is the standard we apply across criminal, civil, family, real estate, and administrative law. If you need a consultation, please refer to the video description. Subscribing and liking helps us provide more detailed legal advice.